The screams echoed through the jagged corridors of the abandoned mining colony, a hollow sound that bounced between rusted walls and shattered equipment. Graham tightened his grip on the flashlight, its beam flickering but steady against the thin, dust-hazed darkness. His breath came in quick gasps, each one a reminder of the 6-foot-tall menace that loomed somewhere nearby. What had been a routine salvage mission had devolved into a nightmare. The flicker of movement drew his attention. A clawed foot slipped into view, now just beyond the light's reach. Graham's heart raced. He'd seen enough of the creature's kind to know they were ruthless. This one stood out, though its skin glimmered like liquid metal, shifting from green to blue as it moved. A truly alien design. He could feel the walls close in, and in that moment, trapped between flight and fight, he made his decision. "Hey, over here," he shouted, swinging the flashlight toward the giant beast. It hesitated, sensing his presence. His insistent bravado masked the real fear trembling in the back of his mind. If the Confederation hadn't been so eager to clear out the last of the Sentrix hive that held sway over the mines, he wouldn't have been here. Moving cautiously, Graham grabbed a metal scrap from the ground and hurled it into the shadows, where he could hear the low rumble of the beast's growls. It turned, and Graham backed into a corner, remembering how many stories he had heard about humans battling creatures beyond comprehension. They always ended with an alien eating its prey with a satisfying crunch. He hoped he wouldn't become a cautionary tale. "All right, shiny beast. How about we make a deal?" he quipped, catching a glimpse of the creature's wide-eyed stare. The chatter around intergalactic bars about humans' uncanny way with animals flooded his mind. These creatures weren't mindless monsters, there was intelligence lurking beneath that metallic sheen. Whether or not it would save him remained to be seen. As Graham held his ground, the creature's stance shifted. The throaty growl softened to whines and it blinked, a perplexed look flickering across its face. Maybe it saw something different in him. He and this alien were both pawns in a game far larger than they realized. Suddenly, the vibrations in the ground announced the approach of something else more Sentrix. His heart sank. This might be it. Defeated by his own curiosity, he cast a panicked look around. Then, without reason, he crouched down and waved his hand in a soft, beckoning gesture. "Simon. Forget the others, let's just, hang out." To his surprise, the creature hesitated, and then stepped closer, lowering its head until those metallic eyes were inches from his face. In that moment, Graham wasn't searching for escape, he felt a flicker of recognition. Somewhere in the depths of that alien intelligence, he sensed the same instinct he'd seen reflected in countless animals back on Earth. A blend of curiosity and cautious trust. "What's your name?" He chuckled nervously, though he knew it wouldn't understand. Yet it seemed to respond to his tone. It sniffed at him, taking in the earthy scent of sweat and fear, more curious than threatening. Graham fought back instinctual terror. There was something profound here. The Sentrix did not share this moment of calm. Shots fired overhead, bursting through the shadows, and he felt the tension in the air snap. The Sentrix growled, its instincts guiding it toward the fight. Graham had a fleeting sense of potential disaster, but as the creature swiped at one of the incoming targets, something clicked in him. "Wait," he shouted. Instead of panic, he saw a new opportunity. No, not them. Us. With desperation sparking his creativity, he reached into his satchel and pulled out an old cell phone, its screen cracked but functional. A relic of modernity abandoned in a universe shifting toward chaos. Ignoring the minor logic that dictated machines of Earth wouldn't hold value here, he pointed it toward the creature. "Look, little light show." The phone screen blinked to life, illuminating swirls of color. The interloper gazed at the colors dancing in a bewildered daze. "Yeah, that's right." Follow the lights. He pressed a few buttons, triggering a blinking sequence that transformed the screen into an imperfect strobe. The Sentrix, momentarily baffled, staggered back as the creature hesitated. It was just a flicker of diversion, but it was enough. In that split second, Graham felt the bond solidify. The creature lunged and swiped at the Sentrix right as they reoriented themselves, the resulting chaos filling the corridor as it drove the aliens into a frenzy. "See? Teamwork," Graham shouted even as he dodged between metal pipes, narrowly avoiding the creature's towering bulk as it thrust itself into the fray. Together they became a chaotic blur of light, metallic grace and nimble humanity. For just that moment, amid flashing lights and crashing sounds, Graham felt the pulse of an opportunity swelling. It was a death sentence for the Sentrix and a chance for the creature. Maybe it learned a bit about humanity tonight. and perhaps, just perhaps, he could make an unlikely companion out of this lethal beast. The universe had handed him an unexpected twist, leaving him with one undeniable choice: he would not survive alone this time. As the chaos raged around them, he found a grin breaking through the tension. "Just so you know, I'm naming you Spike." Another thrust from the alien sent a Sentrix spiraling into a heap. Graham laughed amidst the madness, his heart racing with adrenaline. It wasn't just a fight for survival, it was the dawn of their strange companionship, born from the ruins of fear and ignited by the glimmers of hope. Together, they would become more than a mere pairing of beast and man. They would rewrite the rules of the galaxy with every step they took. The corridor's air shifted as the clash of metal rang out, an echo of chaos through the vast mining colony. Graham maneuvered around the towering form of Spike, using the distraction to dart toward the exit. The guttural howls of the Sentrix faded as the creature lashed out, its claws sending one alien tumbling backward. He felt the surge of adrenaline but fought against the panic rising within him. He was alive because of Spike, and together they had a chance to escape. "Simon, Spike. Time to go." Graham's voice cut through the din, urging the creature to follow. It paused, sensing his urgency, and then charged toward him, its gait surprisingly agile for its size. They needed a plan, and quick. As the last of the Sentrix fell aside, contending with the formidable duality of beast and man, they blitzed toward the exit, a narrow passage that led to the main operations chamber. Reaching the threshold, Graham felt an unsettling sensation wash over him. The room sprawled ahead, littered with remnants of ancient machinery, monitors flickering faintly with half-corrupted images of the colony's history. He paused, breathing hard as he leaned against a wall. This was not just a place of work, it was an ancient tomb holding the stories of beings long gone, overcome by their ambitions. Spike's metallic frame brushed against him, forcing him back to reality. "Right. Let's scout for a way out first." Graham turned, surveying the scattered equipment, the potential for salvation or catastrophe. Time slipped away like grains of sand. He needed to stay focused, but the weight of being a mere human in a universe that had declared him as insignificant pressed down. He glanced up into Spike's eyes, those shimmering pools of light, feeling an inexplicable connection blossom between them. Maybe, just maybe, they were both reclaiming something lost: Spike a purpose, and Graham a partner in this chaotic void. "Hey, how about I call you Shiny instead?" he joked, trying to lighten the air. It worked. Spike emitted a low rumble, almost like a laugh, as if acknowledging their alliance. The moment felt ephemeral, yet Graham understood that their time together would demand more than just whimsy. They needed to find a way off the rock, and the urgency swelled around them. Suddenly, alarms began blaring, red lights flashing throughout the chamber. What the Graham's heart raced, fear coursing through him. Automated defenses meant to guard the colony from internal conflict were springing back to life. He shoved down the rising dread. "Spike. We need to move," he shouted, sprinting across the chamber as serpentine tendrils of metal began emerging from the walls, twisting and turning indiscriminately. With a guttural roar, Spike lunged alongside him, his size allowing him to shield Graham. In the chaotic moment, Graham spotted a cluster of levers engineered for a long-dormant emergency exit. Seizing an opportunity, he dashed toward them, skidding to a halt. "If I pull this," he hesitated just a moment, the dire consequences weighing heavily. "We either get out, or the entire structure collapses." Spike nudged him with urgency, the metallic skin sliding against his arm. Whatever the creature understood of survival, Graham could see the resolve shining through. He had to trust it, and for the first time, he realized this decision lay beyond mere survival. "I'm gonna do it," he yelled, grasping the lever. Without a moment to second-guess himself, he pulled down hard. A loud groan echoed as the walls shuddered, machinery whirring with a resurgence of power. The tendrils halted, retreating as if recoiling from the sudden disruption, while an enormous door toward the far side of the chamber creaked open, revealing a darkened corridor. Relief washed over him. "Let's go." Moved together, they dashed through the opening, but the fleeting sense of escape dissipated as the ground quaked beneath them. The colony wasn't done fighting back. Behind them, the chamber began to collapse. Focusing solely on the corridor ahead, Graham could feel Spike keeping pace. They raced together, their heavy footfalls reverberating in tandem against the metal grating. But a sharp turn beckoned. Graham skidded to the side, and as he did, Spike's size became a disadvantage. It whirled awkwardly, stumbling against the waning structure. "No, Spike. Keep your balance." Panic surged within him, but he dashed further ahead without thinking. He needed to find the exit. The corridor narrowed and fragrant earth wafted through a perforated section of the wall, a scent that promised freedom. Graham burst through the final door, and wild, unkempt grass met him outside. "We made it," he boomed, the thrill of survival electrifying his veins. But he whirled back to the entrance, dread creeping over him as he realized Spike hadn't followed. Spike fear clawed at his throat. Without him, their fragile alliance was crumbling. He rushed back through the doorway, past cascading debris settling in twisted heaps. "Come on, you can't be stuck now." Spike's metallic forms thrashed in the shadows, a low growl reverberating through the chaos as it got entangled in loose piping, struggling to break free. Graham's heart sank. "You're going to be okay, buddy? I'll get you out." He lunged forward, claws from the outer machinery rattling against Spike's skin and reshaping into a coil that constricted tighter. With deft hands, Graham pulled at the encasing metal. It groaned and resisted, but just as despair clutched at him, he recalled the power of their bond, a strange alliance forged through adversity. He felt Spike's tension shift, and with renewed vigor, he stepped back, bracing himself for a final push. "All right, Shiny. On 3, 1, 2, 3, he grabbed hold of a protruding pipe, bracing his weight against pulled muscles. With a grunt and one final tug, he tore it away. Spike lunged forward, breaking free with a sweep that sent a cascade of debris tumbling. With a deafening clatter, they shot through the opening together, landing on the soft earth of the forest beyond the mining colony. The crates and rubble settled behind them, a backdrop of destruction illuminated in the moonlight. A suffocating silence enveloped them, punctuated only by their breathing. Graham turned to check on Spike. Relief cascaded through him as he saw the creature assessing its surroundings, shifting and brimming with energy. "We did it," he shouted, laughing in disbelief. Yet he could feel the weight of exhaustion starting to tether his resolve. Distant voices echoed through the night, backup units from the Confederation, scouts searching for them for him. "We need to keep moving," he said, brushing dirt from his clothes. "You ready?" The creature nodded, resolute determination shining through its alien features. They moved deeper into the woods, knowing they needed to combine their strengths to navigate the challenges of the world ahead. In their flight, Graham caught glimpses of wires that clung to the branches like vines. The forest whispered beneath the stars, a world alive with fears larger and darker than anything he had encountered, shaping a backdrop for the relentless adventures that awaited. As the two continued, the whispers became more than just the breeze rustling leaves. They became a silent promise: as long as they faced this together, the threats looming ahead, unfathomable and formidable, would not extinguish their newfound bond. The night stretched, a blanket of stars twinkling overhead like distant eyes bearing witness to the alliance of unlikely companions, an alien born into chaos, and a human who had weathered storms greater than mere survival. They had come together in despair, and now they would carve a path forward, not just toward life, but toward an understanding that transcended galaxies, a pact that taught them there was strength within their differences. And as dawn broke on the horizon, it dawned on Graham that maybe they weren't just surviving anymore, they were creating a new legacy, one step at a time. The early morning light filtered through the thick canopy, casting a mosaic of shadows across the forest floor as Graham and Spike pressed deeper into the foliage. The world around them was untamed, alive with the vibrant sounds of alien wildlife and the rustling of leaves, but their immediate concern was pressing. The Confederation would send scouts soon, already on high alert for the missing crew member and the beast that had been falsely condemned. "Okay, buddy," Graham whispered as he crouched beside Spike, who still exhibited an unsettling grace despite its imposing size. "We need a plan, something to throw them off our trail." Spike's eyes blinked in a mesmerizing rhythm, reflecting his own uncertainty back at him. He could feel their connection deepen, a bond formed through adversity began to anchor them, a shared purpose igniting both instinct and intellect. As a mechanic, Graham had always relied on his hands and craftiness, but in this moment the stakes felt monumental. No longer was he just a human punishing an alien threat, he was now a protector of a life tied to his own. The thought invigorated him. There had to be a way to display Spike's true nature to the aliens, convincing them they had misjudged the beast. "Let's get creative," Graham said, a spark igniting in his chest. "We need to show them what you can do. We'll need a distraction and a bait, something to draw them to us but not put us at risk." Spike tilted its head, sensing the shift in Graham's demeanor. It was as if the creature understood the gravity of their mission, and for a brief moment Graham caught a glimpse of the intelligence lurking behind those many eyes. Partnering with Spike had transformed his approach. They were no longer running, they were fighting back. The outline of a plan formed in Graham's mind as they wandered deeper into the wilderness. They needed to create an elaborate scene, something that would show the Confederation that they had misinterpreted Spike all along. We'll play into their fears. Let's exploit what they think you are. Only this time, we'll do it right. Over the next several hours, they gathered materials from their surroundings. Graham had a knack for improvisation. He salvaged chemical remnants from the remnants of a destroyed communication relay, concocting a non-lethal smokescreen that would obscure their efforts. He gathered shimmering minerals from the cliffs nearby, attractive to Spike but also an eye-catcher for any passerby. With a mixture of excitement and trepidation, Graham meticulously prepared the area in a concealed glade, several kilometers away from their original path. As he worked, he couldn't help but think back to Earth. The moments spent tinkering with engines and circuits felt a lifetime away, replaced by encounters with an alien he had come to trust. It was surreal. This creature, forged in terror, was now part of the core of his very being. Graham looked over his setup. A combination of smoke, minerals, and reflectors that would catch the sunlight and create an illusion. With everything in place, the sun began to dip on the horizon, painting the sky in hues of red and purple. Okay, Spike, it's showtime. You ready? Spike emitted a low rumbling growl, a sound of potent energy reverberating between them. Graham could feel it resonate through his bones like a call to arms. It was a careless act of bravery that he hoped would succeed. They needed to lure the aliens to see the truth hidden beneath the surface of fear. As night enveloped the forest, Graham initiated their trap. With the minerals strategically placed, he sparked a small fire that lit up the clearing, and soon the smoke began to billow. The swirling colors in the twilight illuminated Spike's form, showcasing its massive size and multitude of eyes, each glinting with an emotional spectrum. Heart hammering in his chest, Graham hid behind a series of bushes, signaling Spike to stay just beyond the edge of the glade, half cloaked in the vapor. He could hear the distant echoes of voices shouting the Confederation must have been close. The moment stretched into an eternity until there it was. The flickering beams of their searchlights pierced through the smoky haze, exposing the camp they had practically crafted themselves. For a moment, the groups of armored soldiers faltered at what lay before them. Graham's heart raced. Now was their chance. Hey, he called out, stepping onto the clearing and abandoning his cover. The light snapped toward him, blindingly bright against the illusion. Look, the truth. You've misunderstood. Spike rose behind him, its tentacles shifting in eerie beauty, flashes of the minerals catching the light. The soldiers hesitated, their expressions morphing from aggression to disbelief. What is that? One voice shouted, the fear in it punctuated with confusion. Graham seized the opportunity. Spike here isn't a threat. This is what you see. He gestured wildly. It's a creature, yes, but it's not violent. You captured it in fear, and I'm here to prove it's misunderstood. As he spoke, he extended his arms toward Spike, who shifted forward cautiously, keeping the multicolored smoke swirling around them. The soldiers remained poised, but their grip on their weapons loosened, curiosity overtaking caution. Show them, Spike, he encouraged. Do the dance we practiced. With a ripple through its form that struck a perfect balance between majesty and incongruity, Spike began to undulate, its tentacles moving in a mesmerizing rhythm that drew the eyes of the soldiers in inexplicably captivating awe. Inciting wonder rather than horror, the intertwining motions contrasted with the brightly colored haze, forcing them to observe rather than approach. Graham watched the change begin from fear to awe. The soldiers' postures shifted as they laid down weapons and squinted, trying to comprehend the spectacle before them. Old someone barked, attempting to regain authority over the distracted group. Stand your ground. But it was too late. Many were captivated. It's beautiful, one of the soldiers finally murmured, drawn to the creature that was once regarded as a monstrous threat. Just like all of us, Graham said quietly, barely audible amid the whispers of enchanting realization. As Spike danced, he could see the blossoming curiosity in their eyes. It unveiled the truth he had sought to express since they had fled the colony, a creature capable of artistry, intelligence, and gentleness. In the heart of the confusion, Graham took a step forward, gazing at Spike. This isn't a monster, it's friendship, adaptability, and a lesson in fear. Spike shifted again, this time releasing a gentle trill that reverberated through the air, the sound drawing up the strangeness of alien forms, allowing their minds to align. It was an improvisation that bore fruit as surprise washed over the soldiers and acceptance blossomed like dawn breaking against the horizon. One soldier stepped forward, their bravado dissolving beneath recognition. Are you saying this creature can be trained? Graham seized the moment. Not just trained, it's capable of building bonds. It can communicate. Teach it, and it will learn. Just look. He watched as Spike lunged carefully, as though experimenting with its newfound environment, plucking shimmering stones from the ground with a jovial flick of its appendages. The soldiers could feel the warmth of the connection burgeoning. They were no longer witnesses of chaos now. They were participants in a showcase of unity. The lead soldier was the first to step back, shaking his head in disbelief. Bring in more light. Back away, but illuminate the creature. The resounding clang of equipment shifting filled the air, and Graham stepped back to give them room. He felt the power of the moment. They were commencing a paradigm shift, one that transcended differences. Graham turned to Spike, whose many eyes met his, seeming to grasp the understanding deeper than mere gestures. We've done it, he breathed, pride swelling as the soldiers moved closer, casting their doubts aside. Together, they began to tokenize this unfolding. They would showcase the beauty of interspecies collaboration. Humans and aliens alike were needed in this fractured galaxy, and together they could illuminate the path forward, shattering fears with creativity. As the stars peeked through the clouds above, Graham felt the warmth of hope envelop him. Here in this clearing, both Spike and he had transformed a death sentence into a testament of trust, a living demonstration that instead of yielding to fear and hostility, a shared future could thrive through kindness and understanding. Together, alien and human had forged a sentence all their own, one of companionship, empathy, and resilience, paving a future he had once thought impossible. And as laughter erupted from the soldiers mingled with Spike's delighted trills, Graham felt a swell of belonging, a collective heartbeat rejoicing in the light of all that was yet to come. In that vibrant moment of metamorphosis, Graham found the purpose hidden among the chaos. It wasn't just survival. It was redefining existence, rewriting their narratives in unison, illuminating the path one friendship at a time. The legacy of Spike and the man who chose to defy fear birthed not merely a new direction in their lives, they wove a thread of unity into the fabric of the galaxy's future. Working together, they could transform even the most daunting darkness into vibrant tales of hope.